Alright, welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, Classic Non-Classics. This is episode number 32, 93, and Doubleshot 3187. For the first time in a while when it comes to these Comic Corners, this is one that's not going to be discussing stuff from either Marvel, IDW, Dark Horse, or Image. First time since I talked about the absolute trades, I'm discussing something from DC Comics. Mostly put, I'm going back to this. I haven't done this in a long time. Mainly because basically I'm focused on getting this stuff done from the Libby app. But for some reason, Libby doesn't have anything from DC. I don't know the reason for this at all. I mean, they have, like, a lot of the other companies. They have Marvel, IDW, Image, Dark Horse. I think that's it. But nothing from DC, nothing from Boom, nothing from Titan as far as I can tell. Nothing. It's like they don't update it very much at all. Alright, so with these particular stuff discussing, these are like individual issues mostly. Now, we're first discussing issues from Starman Volume 1. Yes, the original volume, not the James Robertson run I've discussed already. So, we're discussing issues 16 and 27 along with issue 29. Why am I skipping 28? Because that was collected in a trade paperback plus discussed in stuff related to my Superman stuff. So, in the first couple issues here, basically, Will Payton, he's the Starman in this book. He is struggling with his father, and the fact people compare him to his father, that he pointed to his mom, he's not. Of course, at one point, he's having a really bad day. By the way, he also, at one point, he teams with Power Girl in these issues. Yes, he's with Power Girl. So he comes home. His mother does not know what the heck. Of course, he finds out he's 26, and after talking to his boss, he eventually reveals to her that he's actually Starman. And then she tells him to get out because she's like so emotional. And throughout basically up until around 25, he's going through a very terrible emotional state, despite the fact teaming with various superheroes in this book. Yes, at one point he fights Dr. Polaris. Yes, he fights Dr. Polaris in here, just because he feels like it. And eventually gets out of his funk he's been in. By 25, he ditches the original costume that debuted in issue 1, and debuts the new costume that he is probably known for wearing. By the way, up until around 25-ish, basically, it's the creative team in this book is Roger Stern and Tom Lyle. And he, of course, dealing with the fame throughout a lot of this book, per se. And I know it's the end of this issue, basically, and then he debuts his brand new outfit here. Yeah, when you look at pictures of Starman, this is the outfit generally that happens here. So, and then right after this begins a really good two-parter where, get this, so Tom Lyle has left the book at this point in time. So, for these last two issues, we have, what's the artist here? Because they changed the artist here for this one. It is Carlos Dave Holder. Yes. So, in this book, we debut a brand new Starman. You're thinking, wait, I thought we were paying Starman. Well, it's the debut of a character who... Go away, please. Thank you. Come on. Thank you. Anyways, this is the new Starman. Okay, who is this guy, you might ask? Why, that is David Knight, the eldest son of the original Starman, Ted Knight. And he's wearing his father's costume. And he basically is angry about the fact that there's another Starman out there, but he is Starman. They start getting disagreeing about it, and then eventually, like, Will reveals to him that he did not come up with the name. It was some kid basically just randomly came up with the name Starman for him, and the name stuck. And then he starts attacking him, and then it turns out that he is under mind control from his father's old arch nemesis. For some reason, referred to him as Nimbus here. I'm like, that's not his name. That's his legit last name. This, of course, is the Mist. Yep. Roger Stern brought back the Mist here. I think this was the first time it's featured since a one-shot story back in the 40s. Yes. And after this, Dave continues his merry way. And, excuse me. And then pretty much basically Roger Stern leaves the book. With part of a tie-in crossover with Superman. I think it was like the Crisis on Krypton, I think it was. Yeah, for some reason they decided to include the issue of Starman part of the story because Roger Stern was writing the book at the time, so I guess basically I figured, oh, why not? So he has left the book now, and for this one issue here, I'm not going to discuss 30 because that's such a story here. So for this one issue, because next issue is a different writer, we have Len Zerditsky, where the whole thing with this book here, it's a standalone issue, and Starman deals with some weird stuff here. Also, at some point, his family is very accepting of him as Starman now. So that happened with 25. That's when they kind of wrap up that little emotional story there. I've been going through all of his little emotions here. And this one, just a straightforward standalone issue, take on some weird guy. Before, of course, basically, we get ourselves a brand new writer. Who takes up with the very next issue, you might ask? It is... Well, it's actually his writer here. Yeah, I decided to stop there with 29 because the next one's called Section of Starman. But overall, what did I think of the Roger Stern Starman? This was really, really good. I thoroughly enjoyed this. He and Tom Lyle had great chemistry with this book. Yes, Tom Lyle would not long after this work with Chuck Dixon with Robin, and then he would leave DC for Marvel to do Spider-Man. Yes, for some weird reason that he decided to do this. I don't honestly know why, but he did. But I'm going to give the ranking of Starman issues 16 to 27 and 29 a 9 out of 10. So, next up, basically we're going to discuss the entire second volume for Black Canary. Published in 1993. Now, Charlie Von Eden is the artist for a majority of this run. Now, I could have sworn there was a trade paperback of this run, but I don't know what happened to it. It just disappeared. He does pretty much almost the whole run except for about 2 or 3 issues. He's a majority of the arts. I've been once at Comic-Con back in 2016, I think it was. Sarah Ian Bellum is the writer for a majority of this book. Now, the first story I can hear is known as Hero Worship. Now, Green Arrow is in the book, but he is there as he's basically there as a background. He's there, but Sarah Bellum basically knows that, okay, they're still establishing the fact that she's in a relationship still with, of course, Green Arrow. So this, for a good majority of this book, is set during, like, the Mike Grell run for, the Mike Grell run for Green Arrow, excuse me. So Hero Worship takes the first 2 issues. It is simply Black Canary back and going solo. This was a brief ongoing series that got canceled due to low sales. I'll get to what she did after this, what I talk about. So, in these issues here, mostly put, it feels like basically Sarah Bellum is trying to emulate the style Mike Grell was doing on his run for Green Arrow. That is mostly put for this Hero Worship stuff, where it's a bit gritty here. Her, of course, beating people up, of course. And we even see her basically in her black hair before she... Now, there is one point in the book where she wakes up and there's Oliver Queen in her bed because Sarah probably wanted to establish the fact that they're still in a relationship prior to them breaking up. Yes, they actually did break up just prior to the end of Mike Grell's run for Green Arrow. So, this whole story does not last for 6 issues. It lasts for the first 4. Yes. Actually, first 3. Plus, love this cover artwork here. That's here for issue number 4. I don't think that's Trevor Von Eden does the cover artwork here. Let me try to find out who does that one here. So issue 4 is done by... Oh, that's Trevor Von Eden's artwork. Yeah, it's gorgeous. By the way, there's a supporting character in the book named Dick Nugan. Yeah, he was a carryover from the limited series, and he's only here, this volume here, for a couple issues. Issue 4 and 7. And that's let's see if he doesn't die, he just doesn't appear again. And of course, basically, we have one of the villains of this book being an old enemy of Oliver Queen, Jacob Horseman, who is in this book basically for the opening few issues, and then he's not seen again in comics until, like, believe it or not, the final appearance, the final issue of, like, Green Arrow and Black Canary. No, it was Power Company, I think it was. Yes, Power Company. For some weird reason, his credited first appearance is in Green Arrow, despite the fact that he only appears in this book. It's kind of weird. Yeah, The Art of War, it's basically just... This is just a standalone issue, while I deal with this old foe of this character, of course. And then we have the Blonde Woman Wonder. Yes, where... This is the start of the very next story arc here, and it's only 2 issues. This is one that features Green Arrow as a supporting character, but he's not the main lead. It's basically her versus a brand new character called Blonde, who's only here for just for a couple issues. Yes, and it is mostly put just her going overseas for a couple issues, and at one point she's framed for murder in this 2-parter, and then she's arrested, and despite the fact that she is constantly asked to see the consul, because basically in the country, it's treated like a third world dictatorship in the Netherlands, and eventually she's released, and also for some reason Eddie Fires is thrown in here randomly. Yeah, his appearance in this book feels completely random. And here's the weird thing related to this. This is his sole appearance in this entire book. After this one issue, he never appears ever again. Yeah. And then right after the river of this little 2-parter, and then we have where and then eventually they reference, what happened in Green Arrow 75, which I think this is the issue where Green Arrow and Black Canary break up. Yes, this is where they break up here. And mostly put it, her taking on this one-shot character who only appears in this single issue. And there's also, this is the final appearance of Duke Nagia. Yeah, this is the final appearance to date. And apparently, she chronologically last appeared in that issue for 75, then she next appears in 77 for Green Arrow, and then she's back this book here for issue known as The Fish, where she has, this is basically at this point, prior to the end of the book, become Black Canary, Brave and the Bold, because in this issue, teams up with the Ray. Yep. Teams up with the Ray in issue number 8. Yep. where at one point the Ray, also for this sole issue here, Christopher Priest writes the book for one issue. Yep. I think the reason why they had him basically take the book briefly from the regular writer here, probably because Priest was writing. Now, Sarah Baum, she would write, like, this was the only issue that she would not write for Black Canary. Yeah, and she also wrote the previous volume as well. And she would also write 2 annuals for Green Arrow, annuals 2 and 5. An issue of Captain Atom. And apparently she's credited on the writer for a trade for ElfQuest. Yes. Maybe she wrote the 4. Yeah. Excuse me. At one point you see Diana wearing, like, basically she wears Ray's jacket. But it's only for a quick standalone issue, and then Sarah's back in the book with the very next issue. Yeah. It's nice, though, the fact this book feels like a crossover with the Ray. Yeah. But he, of course, basically later appears over in Black Condor. And then, basically, for issues 9 and 10, she teams up with the Huntress, where in issue 10, she has team up with... She also has... Also, randomly, Nightwing appears in this book. Yep, Nightwing appears. Probably as basically a stopover. Yep. And also, she starts seeing somebody else who actually is not Oliver Queen. And then for... Okay, they wrap this up with issue number 11 with the whole thing with the team with the Nightwing Huntress. And then for the last issue, they bring in a character who she's smitten with for... Who apparently was a partner to Larry Lance. Who is, well, this Black Canary's father. And for some reason, they decide to make out. Yeah, he appears for this one issue, and he never appears again. And Huntress appears in this book. Also, Jeremy Von Eden stops doing the book with issue 11. The last issue was done by an artist who passed away 8 years ago. Actually, 9. Lapido Duranda. Yeah, born in 1938, died in 2016. Yeah, this would be this person's only book he would do for Black Canary. And that's pretty much the book in a nutshell. It's a really good book. I kind of wish DC would re-release the trade, because I remember seeing there was a trade paperback release this volume, but for some reason it disappeared. Not really sure exactly what happened to it. But this book is still really good. I give this book roughly a 9 out of 10. And also with that, I am mostly not reviewing Black Canary. You're probably thinking, okay, what exactly is left to go for Black Canary? Well, I have reviewed 4 volumes for Black Canary. You're thinking, okay, so what else is left? Well, there is one book left. Black Canary, Best of the Best. Yeah, a book that just recently wrapped up. Yeah, that's the only thing. Now, there's also a one-shot. Black Canary and Tana, which this book was delayed for several years for some reason. I'm not sure why, but it was. But that's the only thing else I could think of I have left to go, because all the volumes for Black Canary are all been reviewed. This was the last thing I had to review for it. So, yeah. What's taking its place, per se? Because, of course, basically, I'm kind of bringing back DC stuff because I really want to. I'm going to replace it with another JSA type series. So, I am going to do The Spectre. Thinking that should be interesting. Yes. I think so. Yep. The Spectre. Yep. Yep, so yeah, that's going to be pretty much a particular video. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications. We'll do one more comment corner, and then it's going to go back to watching G-Bond. Okay, next video. Bye.